Welcome to Morning Brew for Marketing Executives, the podcast where senior B2B marketing leaders from globally recognized brands in complex industries share their stories and experiences. Here we dive into the world of marketing leadership and hear more about what it's like to be a marketing leader. In this episode, we're focusing on account-based marketing with a true expert. Our guest is Katrin Marquardt, who leads ABM and field marketing for major financial services clients at Kyndryl in Germany. Before joining Kyndryl, she had almost 20 years of experience working at IBM in several leadership roles. Katrin shares how they made ABM the main way to stabilize their market presence and build trust with their most important accounts. Kyndryl instantly became the world's largest IT service provider with 4,000 IT service customers as it spun off from IBM in 2021. If you're looking to get inspired and learn more about aligning with stakeholders and succeeding in leading ABM, this episode is worth listening to. This episode is hosted by Yanni Hovila, the managing director of Maven First, who has over a decade of experience working with marketing professionals in a complex sales environment. Let's get started.
Hello, Katrin. How are you today?
Hello, Yanni. Thank you. Awesome. I'm happy to join you today and share my experience about marketing at Kyndryl.
That sounds like a great insight. We of course planned a little bit about the topics and ABM from different angles, from your transformation journey at Kyndryl, from the more one-to-one aspect of ABM all the way to the pursuit deal-based and your learnings along the lines. But first of all, let's have a little bit of background to our listeners. Kyndryl is a big company. I heard somewhere or read somewhere that you are the largest startup in the world. So can you briefly give a little bit of background? Kyndryl, part of IBM, but what's happening?
Yeah,
What is
sure.
Kyndryl?
I think today we are more like a scale-up than a startup. Yes, you're correct. So my name is Katrin Marquardt. I'm leading ABM and field marketing for financial services and insurances at Kyndryl in Germany. And Kyndryl is a spin-off of IBM. We spun off in 2021. And in a time that was very complex and very uncertain. So we became a $19 billion company overnight, but our brand was pretty unknown. Yeah? We had 4,000 IT service customers, and the first thing was to stabilize our market presence. So Kyndryl is the world's largest IT service provider today, employing 75,000 employees across 60 countries. So we have very big clients across the big countries. So if you imagine you make an online check-in in a large airline, then the systems that is run in the background is managed by Kyndryl. Or you do your online banking. The system that is in the background is managed by Kyndryl. So to give you a background what we are doing.
Can you guess, or do you know how many full-time marketers are in, let's say, Kyndryl EMEA or Europe? Like, just to kind of give you a little bit of perspective, is that less or more than 100? Or what's your best guesstimate?
I don't have the European number at the moment, but the global number is approximately 300 people work in Kyndryl marketing. And for ABM/field marketing, we are 60 people across the globe. So I'm looking after financial services and insurances, and my colleague Anse is covering manufacturing and automotive. And these are the two industry clusters that we are prioritized in Germany right now.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Just kind of 300 from those 60 in ABM. It's a big shift what we have seen in the last almost 10 years, like how ABM has shifted from that one test pilot stage to actually be business as usual in a stage that almost 1/3 or 1/6 of the marketing team is actually full-time ABMers. So it's very good to see as well. ABM is working. Maybe we can say that then 60 from 300 is fully worked in ABM.
It underlines the importance and the strategy for Kyndryl in marketing, because from the beginning it was not seen as a marketing tactic, but as an operating model aligned to our customers. Because I said 4 years ago, we were a startup. Nobody knew us. So the first major priority was to stabilize the relationship to our most important customers. And ABM was the instrument for that. So ABM, account-based marketing, is centered around a customer instead of focusing on an industry or a vertical. So
let's just this year going to give me an easy question here. What's the difference from your point of view with segment-based and account? Let's take not the one-to-one where one account is like a segment of its own, but let's take one-to-few. What's from your opinion, the biggest difference between one-to-few ABM and segment-based marketing?
as I said, everything is centered in the account. So if I have, for example, when I worked with my financial service and insurance cluster, I had 10 one-to-few accounts, and I was working very closely with my account teams. So our work is based on the common growth plan. So I look at across my 10 accounts, what are the narratives, what are the business challenges, priorities to identify patterns. For example, let's take transformation, digital transformation or cybersecurity. And when I find these common topics, I can build a campaign for the customers that have this business challenge. So, and I'm, let's say, focused on a certain number of accounts instead of a whole industry in a country. And this approach is different, I think, because it's very focused on the narrative, on buying groups, on the journey, where's the account, and what are the stakeholders that I can work with the account teams, because we see that the buying process or the journey has changed dramatically. Yeah, we have longer non-linear journey. Stakeholders jump into the journey very late. We don't talk to one person. We have buying groups. We talk with security, with operations, with finance, with executives, and that is very complex. And because we have these big, major, long-term or multi-year engagements, it's important to customize and personalize the message, because it's not one size fits all, but it's very focused on the account.
Yeah, if you are on first year of that buying process in that multi-year buying process, your needs are probably a little bit different than if you're on the later stages of your buying process as a buying committee or buying group. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest challenges we hear in complex B2B is always the perceived role of marketing. And now it's, of course, mostly in the complex B2B sales-driven, product-driven, expertise-driven companies, not so much in SaaS or that side of the fence. But how you see the account-based marketing role to actually improve or change the perceived role, what marketing is for and why we have marketing in the first place in the company? Do you see that like a tool in the toolbox, or how you see that fitting to that narrative?
It's still a journey, I would say. The good thing was that at Kyndryl, it was a decision on top level. So the CEO and the CMO decided that ABM is the strategy for Kyndryl. And to bring that into the market, I would say, I mean, often in B2B marketing, the marketing function is seen as a supporting function to organize an event or to support with merchandising and giveaways. But in ABM, my experience was when I am able to bring in or to offer insights that my account team was not aware of, and we can, through this, connect some dots that were invisible for my colleagues before, then I earn a seat at their table, and they open up and they share more about their challenges, and we can work on a common or a joint strategy and be more creative. And then we have a joint or a common goal, and then the road is clear, I would say. Yeah. And then it's not you and me, and I work in my silo, they work in their silo, and sometimes we meet together. No, I sit within the account team. I have the same rhythms and cycles as they do. We work together on a joint growth plan. We have the same strategy. I'm part of their leadership management system and so on. And that's a huge difference that I never seen before in my company when I was part of IBM, for example, or other company.
You mentioned a couple great points. One was that the CEO or the leadership team need to get aligned that ABM is our way to grow and get to the market and get that alignment that this is the way to go. And I think also you mentioned that, of course, just from the headcount perspective, that this is something we need to invest if we want to grow this way. And thirdly, I think the important point you mentioned was the courage to change structure to support that you are not outside or the account team, you are actually part of the account team as representative of marketing. So I think there's many things done right to make that transformation. But of course, on one-to-one basis, and we all know with different stakeholders that the perceived role for marketing might be, you mentioned the events or something. I heard from our executive roundtable in Denmark last time that they used to be make anything happen department, from Christmas tree decorations to those most strategic position statements and everything between. So how you see, let's say you now have the alignment on top, and was that an instant that you of course you have a little bit different, because Kyndryl was established almost like so there was not that package. But does that happen? Did that happen instantly that you kind of get to the account team, part of the account team? Or was there kind of some sort of pilot phase between, or how was the early days?
No, early days. When I started at Kyndryl, that was September 2021. Immediately, I was assigned to 3 one-on-one accounts, all in the financial service and insurance industry. Then every ABM marketer went through an education so that we are grounded on the same knowledge, that we have a common playbook and structure and tool set that we work with. And yeah, but you have teams where the teamwork or collaboration is smoother than other teams. And my lessons learned is focus and work with the teams that want to work with you. Otherwise, yeah, it's like B2B marketing. Yeah, then you work in your silo and they work beside you and not with you. Yeah, so we adjusted the accounts after 1 year when we didn't see the growth or the priority shifts, or we saw other accounts with more growth opportunity, then we changed it. Yeah, and the selection is always made together with the leadership team. And a very important point for us is the headroom. How is the potential for the account to grow, and and that is based on long time value, and how important is the account for Kyndryl. Yeah. And then work through it.
So mainly on more on the opportunity side, I remember I shared with you previously that I had a stint in my career where I worked as a consultant for, and most of the projects are ABM related, starting ABM and scaling that. But just kind of remembering those, there was many ABM needs identified to defend accounts. So do you also have that kind of, if we take the key and growth account separately, do you use that also ABM to defend accounts, those most important, or is that mostly about kind of top line growth and new avenues, revenue?
Let's say, so the defending motion was more from the sales side, yeah. So that
Okay.
it was a core account since decades. So we need to support this account from the marketing perspective as well. And then we said, because data-driven marketing organization had then some analysis, and we built a magic quadrants where's the growth potential and where should we invest and optimize or reinvest. And then we showed it to the business and said, here we have, that's a cash cow at the moment, let's say, but there's nothing, we have the whole IT budget. There's no room for growth. So let's focus on, here's the list. So here are the 5 other accounts. We have the potential. Let's focus here. And it was a process and many leadership meetings, but at the end, we have some cases where we said, no, we no longer support these accounts from a marketing perspective. And that was a hard process, but at the end, the result shows.
Data doesn't lie. So if there's no growth, why should we invest our precious resources and the cost of not doing something else with those? I get it. So from your standpoint of the alignment on top, that ABM was chosen to be one of the main ways to grow the accounts and go to market in a sense, then having the skills processes like the uniformity, almost like a center of excellence type of that we know deeply what we are now pursuing and why we have chose this and what are the tactics enabling the team to success. Then we have the organizational changes, how we structure our teams around the common goal.
I think we didn't mention it yet. So the field marketer or ABM marketer at Kyndryl sits at the center. And I am supported by global teams. We call them central teams. And they work across the globe and support all the 60 field marketers worldwide. And these central teams are divided into content team, social team, digital team, solutioning team, and so on. And so they help me when I have built my growth plan together with the team, my account strategy, and the topics I want to focus on to help the team grow. Then I can go back to the central team and they help me build the campaigns and help me execute events and so on. And on top of that, I'm supported by a small network of local agencies that help me bring this to life here in the local market.
So also let's add to the success recipe of Kyndryl in ABM, let's add that adequate resources to actually make that personalization, get those gains, and of course adequate resources to do that marketing that we need for the account as well. Yeah. Makes sense. Let's change a little bit, or let's say you have a marketing leader now in this conversation with us. And if that's the success recipe for that, they lead, let's say, 10 people marketing team or 20 people marketing team in complex speed. What would be your most important advice if they want to successfully get the ABM as part of their business as usual marketing mix? What comes first to your mind?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is to have this joint understanding or the commitment from the business side, from your leadership team, from the board of directors, that ABM is center of your strategy, because ABM is not the next tactic. It's an operating model, and it's based on it's a long-term approach, because you want to grow your accounts, your very important or most important accounts over years. It's based on long-term relationships with their stakeholders. It's not bringing this campaign into the market in this quarter and see what are the results in the next quarter. So we say we work on one account for at minimum 1 year to see what's the outcome after 12 months, and then decide if it's worth going forward with this account or do a change. And if you don't have this commitment from your leadership team, it's like a tactic. Then you have assigned 1 or 2 people of your marketing team on ABM, and they work in the silo. So the message or the strategy must be clear, that it is center of the strategy for the most important customers. And this only works with tight alignment with sales, on collaboration between marketing and sales. And then define the KPIs, the joint KPIs. In Kyndryl, it's reputation, relationship, and revenue / signings, because we are in a service business. So my goal is to build new relationships and deepen existing relationship, and we can measure that, and reputation, how sees the customer us, do they trust us, are they happy with us? And we measure this with the NPS score. So also very easy to measure in signings and revenue as well. So, and these are certain the same KPIs that the sales team is measured on. So common goals, common KPIs. Let's
get to the how we row in the same direction and in the same rhythm. Really. Well, you mentioned the 3 R's: revenue, reputation, and relationships. And everything takes, like, if you look those accounts, and as you mentioned, it's multi-year buying process in many cases, and or multi-year deals we want to grow. Have you encountered the challenge that yes, you were successful identifying these relationships, but it was we as sales, we actually, I know that person from an event 2014 already. It's not a new person, or I'm now a little bit exact.
I mean, the world is not black and white. You have many facets of gray. Yes, for sure that happens, because the business is measured on opportunity identification and ownership. But it's also being part of the team, earn a seat at the table, and trust. And then if you have this, I think the account executive is also not shy to mention marketing as part of the winning team, or in the winning message email that goes through the CEO, that my name is in this mail as well. But you have to show your value to the business, and it's not only to have a Kyndryl pencil at an event. It's more like that. Yes, that happens as well, but most of my experience or my time, I have the other side. Otherwise, it would be too frustrating. And
just kind of thinking that marketing leader now listening in, and maybe they are in some part of their ABM journey, or taking some of the learnings and how to implement those. I think that's probably one of the challenges facing if you want to get early alignment and really get that investment, because I think in ABM specifically, it's not operating model you can kind of try to go sheep on, or kind of go, if you don't invest enough, there's no way to personalize and get those results. So there's kind of that one, some stage you need that investment in a sense. So that's thought process on my end. How much time you spend, let's say you start working with an account 1-to-1, very, very important. How much you spend time to actually align that what are the marketing outputs and outcomes you want, and kind of making sure we are aligned that if we succeed with this is valuable for the overarching revenue target as an example. So do you kind of get aligned on the what marketing is not? Marketing wants to make sure let's use easy example, we identify the new relationships in the accounts. Do you spend time to actually align that that's a valuable goal for the overarching share of wallet growth as an example?
Yes, yeah, sure. I would say 25% of my time I'm following up, and it's not only the quantity, it's also the quality. I mean, I'm part of, as I said, part of the account team, of the sales team. So I have weekly meetings with the account leaders, and we discussed what are the new stakeholders, what are the new decision makers I was able to identify, how do we engage, how do we address them. And we have set up certain dashboards that help me to be on track and to see the engagement on a account level with these people or with my marketing activities, so that I can see that for this account, these and these job roles engaged with this and this thought leadership content, or with this webinar, or with this global event, Microsoft Ignite. And then I can talk with my leadership team then what we do with these information, what's the next step, what we can bring to these people, again, invite them to the next event or something like that. And at the end, it's these activities are linked to the opportunities. So if something is signed, we can see what was the engagement with this person. Let's say the opportunity is with the CIO of XYZ. And then you can see in our CRM system, he was on this event, he downloaded this paper, he attended this webinar. So then we have 60-degree view of the account, and we can see what marketing did for that. On the other hand, they can say, yeah, they attended the event only because I invited them as an account executive. Then you have another discussion, but in Kyndryl, we are able to show this to the business. Yeah.
And I bet that it helps when you have kind of that top level alignment that this is the way to go. It's not something you're going to need to almost like fight your way in to work this way. It's already decided that this is our way to go to the market or organize the field marketing. Yeah, because I just like, it must be very clear that now I'm using the mechanism of value, like what we do in marketing and we own in marketing, let's own, quote unquote. What's the mechanism from that great success to be valuable for this client or this account? So that must be very clear, because you have all those one-to-one sessions, you're part in the team, and yeah, makes sense.
Yes, they must experience this. And when they went through this process once, then for the next time, it's much easier. And that is why we also implemented sharing sessions where we showcase stories across the globe so that we can learn from each other. In these sessions, the account executive and the marketer present what they did together, what was the journey of the client. And that really helps as well for the daily job.
So let's add that to the success recipe, that sharing those learnings and wins, most importantly, to build that trust, both in the leadership team who made that call that this is the way to go, and definitely to the account teams and account directors and sales leaders, that they see that it's not an attribution thing, it's more about trust, that I trust that this will move us forward in these accounts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in many
100%.
cases, they appreciate the work that the marketing, the field marketers or ABM marketers do, because we focus on things like what are they posting on LinkedIn, for example. Yeah, and they are so involved, deeply involved in the relationship holding exercise with their client and negotiating. They don't have the overall view. And if marketing can tell, oh look, I had this example last year, oh look, the chief digital officer will speak at a global insurance conference in London in some weeks. What do we do with that? Who will go to London, or what are the opportunities to engage with this guy, because he's important for us, because he's responsible for responsible AI, and we can help the client with that as well. So these are the connections or the small dots that we can build for the account team, and that helps them.
Kind of work as a force multiplier for the inside part of the account.
Very good.
leading
Yeah,
or
exactly.
yeah, getting those, and then of course, insight doesn't work or benefit us if we don't then have the ability to actually get to the action. So now, using your example, now they are speaking in London. What we do, I think that's the most important. So you have that very joint planning on the tactics and actions, then that we actually get the value of those insights. Great example. Do you see, would it be possible to, let's go back a couple of years. Would it be possible to succeed in this kind of change if you would work from the normal operating model from marketing team, and then kind of servicing or supporting sales with ABM, and a little bit like more on the shadows without that top level alignment from the get-go?
I think it would be much harder, because everybody has a certain agenda and different goals and targets, and they would all come to us. Yeah. So the first was to set ABM as the strategy. Then the second one was which verticals or industries we should focus on. Yeah. Otherwise, every customer unit leader would approach marketing and say, "Give me some more money and some people." So it would be very difficult, because we had a lack of focus and prioritization. And at the beginning of Kyndryl, that was key, because we were a newborn baby into the market. Nobody knew Kyndryl. And if we tried to approach the whole market, it wouldn't work. Yeah, so prioritization and focus was key, and to have a foundation, that stabilized the business, because we had to emphasize the client that they can trust us still, although ABM is no longer part of this company. And that is why ABM was like an engine, I would say.
And if you take 100 salespeople in front of you and ask which accounts to focus on, it's always the same answer: mind. So, and I think that goes hand in hand with the strategic, like what's marketing planning on a leadership or even in the board level. Is ABM or where our marketing investment is best served and best used, or if that's brand marketing, or if that's whatever. And I'm not comparing the two, but just kind of that needs to be planned. Just kind of from working with all these center of excellence and global teams, support teams, kind of inside agency, in-house agency model, how the autonomy works and decisions are made, and also taking this to account now your joint partner in planning the sales side. Do you have very agile way to plan, or can you just give a brief how from idea to planning or goal to planning? How does that work?
Yes. Yes, agile, of course. But at the beginning of each fiscal year, we start with the foundation, with the groundwork, I would say. We started with the leadership team, and my part is bring the market insight. So where's the market shifting? Where's the growth potential? What are the account insights? What are there any mergers and acquisitions? What are the current business challenges? Do we have leadership changes? Something like that. And for that, I use AI. Maybe we can talk about later a little bit more about that. And that's the first session within the account leadership team. And the second session is with our practices. At Kyndryl, we have 6 practices focusing, for example, on cloud or mainframe or security or AI. And with these service lines, we do this growth planning exercise as well. And after that, we have, let's say, a foundation. And on a quarterly base or a half-year base, we adapt it. And if something happens, no one hinders us to update the plan or adjust the strategy.
So kind of little bit longer term, half year, or for fiscal year, half year, quarterly based, you have pretty set, let's say, aim for that strategic period. But then you need to have a mechanism to be that agile because things happen in the accounts fairly fast. So do you have kind of that higher level in place? And then on the production and actual planning side, let's say I am an account director in one of your accounts. We get that insight that our client is speaking in London event. Is that a weekly thing we kind of adjust based on the strategic?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's on a weekly basis, exactly. The longer term for a fiscal year or even longer is the most important business priorities or challenges the client have. We see in our industry, for example, digital transformation, cloud transformation, sovereignty is a hot topic. We see cyber resiliency because with cybercrime is rising heavily. Then we have the regulatory stuff like DORA. So these are common topics. But then we have, for example, I had the case, one of my accounts was attacked. So the systems went down, and then we had to react on that and offer the client help. So these are the agile things that can come in.
You mentioned about AI. Of course, I have to tell a story first. When I saw a use case for AI, it must be more than a year ago, about personalization of content. I first thought about all the ABMers that, let's say, you have a good repository of things we do in industry X as an example. Then we have that pretty basic ebook or whatever the campaign is, that how much efficiency gains this AI thing at the moment. I think that it was just early LLMs and ChatGPT. If you have that in place, how much efficiency gains we are going to get in those one-to-one personalization aspects that typically is very, very time consuming. So is that a competitive advantage how you use AI at Kyndryl in ABM? Or are you willing to share some of your best honed secrets?
Maybe both, I mean, the reason you mentioned the word already, it's a force multiplier, as we scaled and we grew, so we realized that we cannot do more. So we are 60 and the budget is limited. So how can we scale? As I mentioned, we moved from one-to-one to one-to-few. So we needed something new, and that is where AI came in, because we needed to do more, but we needed, as you said, it is very time consuming to do this this heavy manual work in account analytics or competitive analytics. And now I can do this in minutes instead of days, all this data gathering. Yeah. And now I can focus more with my account teams on the strategy and creativity instead of data gathering. But for me as a field marketer, it's for my daily work, it's more about how can AI help me more insights about my clients and this competitive analysis stuff. Yeah. So, and not only the content personalization part, because that's everybody is thinking when you talk about AI and marketing about personalized content. And yes, we have this. I think we have at Kyndryl more than 30 AI agents at the moment, and the number is rising very quickly. We are a Microsoft first company, so at the moment we work with these Microsoft approved AI co-pilot agents. And in field marketing, I work very heavily with an agent that it's called Account 360 and Stakeholder 360. So these agents help me prepare for these growth planning sessions, or if I identify a new stakeholder and my account executive has a meeting with this person next week, how can I help him prepare for that meeting? And with these agents, I get a very comprehensive view of this person with his background, with ending in an empathy map, what he thinks, what he talks about. And I can suggest some conversation starters to my customer partner.
And if ABM works as a force multiplier for account managers, then AI works as a force multiplier for ABMers, and it's force multiplier.
Exactly.
Like,
and the important part for me working at Kyndryl is AI is not there to replace me. It's there to help me, to free me up, so that I be more faster, more efficient, but to focus on the things that really matters, and that's the work with the account teams, and not searching and researching and so.
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
And across Kyndryl, I mean, many people are afraid of, or some people are afraid of, or they don't trust us. And so that is why it's very important for us to have this responsible AI. So all agents are developed together with marketing and the CIO office, so the AI experts and sales. And it's very transparent what are the sources, so that we have human in the loop, so human start or human first, human last. AI accelerates my work or multiplies it. That's important, I think, also that the governance part and so on.
You are active speaker in multiple formats in B2B marketing, and I think you are hosting a roundtable or workshop in Amsterdam. Am I right? Or
yes, on Thursday.
You know what the questions are from the marketing leaders who think scaling ABM or starting ABM. So, what would be your success recipe for person listening now this episode? What's the first step you need to get right?
I think, as I mentioned, the first step is to have a common commitment, or a commitment from the senior leadership team of your company that ABM is part of your strategy, that it's not a motion or a tactic or a campaign, but it's really part of your strategy, and that it is a long-term run, let's say. So you have to invest in people, you have to invest in the marketing stuff, so in their work. So we have dedicated marketing budget for ABM, for the ABM accounts, and give it a certain time. Give it at minimum 1 year to see how it evolved and if it works for your company. But I think for your most important customers, it's really a worth invest. Makes sense.
That's a good first step. We always like to end our episodes with some rapid fire questions. My favorite is easiest is if you could get now your marketing budget and resources 3 times you have currently, what would you do? And only rule is it needs to be a sane business decision. So maybe no Super Bowl ads or something easy to say like that. But what would you do?
I would say I have the same amount of resources, so I don't have more people. So I assume I have the same number of people and 3 times or 5 times the budget. I would say I would invest more in a tactic that I do today. For example, if I'm a sponsor at AWS Summit, now I have a silver sponsorship, then I go for a gold or platinum to be really the sponsor in the room so that everybody sees me. And awareness is still a topic for Kyndryl because it's still the case that many companies don't know us. So I would say beside that, I would much more invest in awareness. So in awareness campaigns, with media partners, with advertising and so on, because at the moment, Kyndryl is focusing their advertising budgets in the US and India and UK, Canada, Japan, and not in several European countries. So if I would have this money, I would invest there.
So even company this size needs to invest in the awareness stage and on the early stage of buyer engagement, how you say that, to get to the short list of providers.
Exactly. To be on their radar, to be recognized, to be on their list, exactly because our business is it's a tender business, so they're raising RFIs, RFP, and if you are not invited, you are not part of the game. So
you already lose.
yes, and that's the most important priority for our CEO in the country. Our country president Kai says, I will be well known in the German market, and at the moment, not the case.
That's good. So on the awareness side and things already work. So that's without going to all the details and giving your competitors the competitive edge you have. Second question: what if we take a little bit different perspective? What one tip would you give yourself when starting in your first leadership managerial position?
I would say do great work and talk about it as much as you can. Yeah, to self-promote you. I missed that too long. So now I realize or experience this, and especially as a woman in the IT business, it's very important to stand up, to be bold, to recognize that you have a voice and that you have something to share. And that is one advice. And the second is look for not only for a mentor, but also for a sponsor that build your network, and a sponsor will help you to grow and to get the next step. Yeah. And always keep in mind what's the next step and the next step.
So keep growing and develop. Yeah, definitely. No, of course, I ask for one, but I get 2 at least. So it's always good. Katrin, thank you for joining us for today's episode. And as mentioned, you are very active on social as well as speaking about your learnings and experience and sharing your knowledge around ABM. What would be our listeners' best way to reach you if they now have a question? What's the best way? LinkedIn or something else?
Yeah, I would say reach out to me If you want to share experience about ABM or AI and marketing or pursuit marketing that we didn't talk about today, then reach out on LinkedIn.
We will definitely have the link on your LinkedIn profile in the show notes as well. Thank you, Katrin. And of course, thank you to our listeners for listening to this episode of Morning Brew for Marketing Executives in B2B. And see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Morning Brew for Marketing Executives. We hope you found today's episode insightful and inspiring. If you enjoyed the conversation, please subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us bring you more stories from marketing leaders. This podcast is produced by Maven First. For more information, please visit mavenfirst.com.